Although many parts of programming left yet, such as defining classes, using different data types, or functions, scopes, error handling, etc., yet you get familiar overly with programming basics and how we could use scripting. You get familiar with variables, with subroutines or modules. You get familiar with form and controls using if condition, loops, properties, and more. Now let's do actually more practical to using codes and applying into the Microsoft Word document. So I go back to the Microsoft Word document. And as I mentioned before, the most simple method to understanding codes, you could record by macro. I click on record macro. Macro 1, it is fine, okay. And let's create a table. Insert table, for example 4x4. To not get mixed up, I'm going to developer tab again and stop recording and clicking somewhere inside of table and recording another macro to separate it. I record the macro again, macro 2, it is fine, okay. You know, if I press Ctrl or Command Home, we will go and navigate it to the very first cell. Let's say we want to create some numberings. 1, I'm using down arrow, 2, 3, and 4. And stop. So we recorded how to create a table and how we navigate very first cell, type or insert values, go down and next value, go down again and again and insert values. Alright, I remove this table, going to the Visual Basic and analyze the code. Of course, we don't need comments, so let me remove them. To create a table, on first macro, macro 1, use active document .table.add and the range, selection range, number of rows and number of columns. I want to mention something about underscore. Underline or underscore on VBA or Visual Basic coding actually breaking the line. This is similar to something like that, but because there were not enough space, it used underscore. Just to show you, I create another subroutine. Allow me to type sub, for example A1, and just solo it by procedure view, and I'm typing message box, add underscore exactly here to break the line, and doesn't matter if you use tab key, and I say hello world. This code, it is exactly similar to this one. Allow me to type it something like that. Doesn't matter actually. This is exactly same. We just broken the line. So if I run this code, again we will see hello world. So if you have not enough space on your line or you need organize, you could use underscore to break it. Anyway, I remove that, stop, okay, and go to the full module view. Let's say we want to create our table, but based on user entered value. I want to make a form. So insert the form. I create a command button. Let's change the caption to insert table. And let's add two text box, 1 and 2, and 2 labels to be obvious. All right. I say rows and columns. And how can I insert table based on those values? Of course, it is better to define variable for that. I say dim, for example, int row as integer, although it is too much, but it is fine. Another one, dim int call as integer again. How we could use the code for making table. If you don't remember, simply we record it here. I copy that, or even I could cut that. Right click cut, go to user form, double click and paste it here. Allow me to bring more lines. Okay, paste. Actually, auto width or behaviors are too much. We don't need those. I could remove every extra. For example, word table behavior, auto width, we don't need for now. I just remove it. Okay, and remove this one too. So active document, .tables, .add range, selection range. How many rows? I don't want to be fixed. But let's try, is it really working or not? I need define my macro to call it. So let's connect our form to the macro. I double click on my macro. I define another macro. Sub, again my macro. And as you remember, sorry, I written wrong. Sub. Okay. And just call your form user form 1.show. Let's try, is it actually inserting table or not? Macro, my macro run, insert, and yes, there it is, inserted actually table. However, I remove the behaviors attributes such as border, but it is fine for now. Close it. I remove that, go to Visual Basic Code, and this time I want to assign these values. Int row for number of rows, and int columns for number of columns. But we didn't assign the columns and rows value. So let's assign it. I say int row equal text box 1 dot text and int call equal text box 2 dot text. So first we set the values for row and columns and then assign it to the generating new table. Let's run it again. Macro, my macro run, let's say maybe 8 rows and 2 columns. Insert, and there it is, 8 rows, 2 columns. I close it and remove. Try again to make sure it is fine. Maybe 10 rows and 5 columns. Insert. So it is fine for now. Let's continue on the next video.